Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I got a really nice letter here from Josh Greathouse, who drew my attention to this drink and draw, which I usually try and listen to. This last Wednesday had Frank Cho on it, Dan Panasian, Joe Quesada's on that, and it's a good show. Generally, it's one of those ones where I wish there was like a recap at the end, because sometimes there's a lot of I don't want to say dead air, but just it can wander between a really valuable piece of information and just rambling. And yes, I am well aware of the hypocrisy of me saying that. So I know, but my shows are 10 minutes. That's anyway. the the interesting thing here is in the mail he brings up is that there's this moment in the show, and I should go grab the clip, but I won't. It took me a while to find it. Anyway, basically, Dan kind of brings up this point about when he's under an NDA and he wants to talk about the book, and then can't. That he's under gag order and he has to keep it a secret. It's relatively small and it's benign, and I think Dan could have said quite a bit more. Joe Q kind of came back with the but you don't want to announce it early, and people going, did it come out already? And the back and forth really indicated to me a couple things that. In many cases, marketing and the channel and how you reach customers for your comics has shifted. And it's shifted significantly over the last, 10, 15 years. Definitely the advent of digital. And when I say digital, I don't mean digital comics. I mean digital communication. I mean social media. I mean being able to access information quicker. And I think it's half the ability for people to go to websites, social media, other things to get information about books or whatever it happens to be. And that's become their expectations for how to get information, that they can just go to one of their mini sources and see this. And it's kind of the basis behind the whole idea of going viral. You could go viral, and you can announce something. If you do it in the right way, you have the right hook, the right trailer, the right influencer, whatever it happens to be, you can get that message spread really quickly digitally. But the other thing that's happened that I think people kind of ignore is that the mobile phone and these nice iPhones, Android devices, having all this data at your hand means the world has significantly shifted in how you consume information. You do not need to go home, fire up a computer, go to a website. I mean, picture everything we have today, Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of stuff, but no mobile phone. The usage would be a fraction of what it is now, because the reality is people are going outside, they're wandering around, they're in their lives, they're on the couch watching TV, they're wherever they happen to be, and it's very, very quick to pull up their phone. The phone notifications are significantly different than what you have on a laptop or on a computer, which means the marketing is very different. And listening to Joe Quesada talk, it became really apparent that he is not clued into kind of how the world has shifted under his feet a little bit in terms of marketing. This idea of you don't want to announce it too early is kind of an archaic concept. That's not how the movie industry works anymore. It's not how book publishers work anymore. That's not how any of this in other types of media function. Games and movies are announced years earlier in a lot of cases. Comics is still aligning to this odd publishing schedule that really doesn't fit the current market. And Dan is correct. I mean, unfortunately, the part that was unsaid, and I don't know if this was in Dan's head or not, but the part that was unsaid was, sometimes the creator is under NDA and can't announce something, can't talk about it, can't do anything. And the assumption is the company is going to do something, the editor is going to do something, but they don't do anything either. And it's telling a little bit that in the current comic market, and here's one area where I think new fans and old fans alike are the same in their customer buying habits. They are more interested in hearing from the creators, from the artist, and from the writer, less from the company. Whether if you collected comics back in the 70s, 80s, you were interested in what Chris Claremont were doing. Sure, Marvel was the brand behind it, But even we had that amazing interview with Jim Salicrup that was on earlier. It's very long, but there's some great stuff in there. But Jim Salicrup, a guy who edited John Byrne's run on Fantastic Four, did the work on Dark Phoenix with Chris Claremont and Byrne. Helped get Todd McFarlane onto Spider-Man. I mean, a lot of really great moments that he pulled together. And yet, you wouldn't, a customer, a fan reading this stuff would not say, I'm going to turn to Jim Salicrup for that information, even though he was editing the book. They were wanting to hear from Byrne or from Todd or from, Michelini or from Claremont or whoever it happened to be. That's who they wanted to go for the information. And today in 2021, people coming in new to comics, they want to hear from Hickman. They maybe want to hear from Vita. They may want to hear from they want to hear from the creators. Yet the publishers are in many ways putting this gag order on the creators, the people that the customers want to hear from, until it hits a certain arbitrary date that's aligned more to publishing and less when the book is actually getting done. Now, bear in mind, I'm not a fool. I get that you want to coordinate your marketing efforts and you don't want it to be the Wild West. However, there's a big miss here in that you have creators who are excited, ready, anxious to promote their stuff, and you have customers who are anxious to hear about it. And instead, you have to wait for material to come out from the publisher who's aligned to a schedule which may or may not have anything to do with customers, and half the time forget. What is the sales analysis shows us over and over and over that, in particular Marvel, but DC too, to a large extent, they promote the first issue. They put out variant covers and incentives and everything else, and then the promotional effort goes down to 10% or less, and sometimes zero. I use this example a lot. The J.J. Abrams and Sons Spider-Man with Sarah Pichelli had a huge announcement at a very arbitrary time, a couple months before the issue launched. The first issue launches, there's a little bit more buzz, but frankly less than the final order cutoff date announcement and timing. And then nothing. The rest of the comic, issue 2, 3, 4, those just went invisible. There was by the time the series ended, there was zero marketing out there, absolutely nothing. And who could solve this? Well, the creators, who are motivated in many cases to promote what they're working on because they want to get other gigs. I have said in the past, and I want to make it clear, I don't think it's responsible for the publishers to outsource all their marketing efforts to their creators, or if they want to do that, they need to pay them more. I think that's part of the game. But this idea that, somebody is sitting on a bunch of arts and sketches and they understand Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and other places where they could post and generate excitement for their project, but they can't do it because the publisher is waiting for some random date in the future to do it. That's insanity. That's missing the mark completely on marketing. And frankly, it's taking dollars out of everyone's pocket. The creators, the publisher, the retailer, everybody is making less as a result. But this whole mail, and I thank you, Josh, for sending it in, that pointed me to this clip. It's a heavy reminder that comics have not evolved in this stuff like anything else has. The comic Josh made here, which I think is kind of telling, it said, I can tell you the next 5 Marvel movies, but I can't name 5 Marvel comics right now. That's probably pretty extreme. I suspect if you're reading regular Marvel comics, you can, but that is telling that, you're not wrong. We know, I guess the way I would put it is, I know Marvel movies out planned for 2024, 2025. On the comic side, we know nothing beyond July. I guess this X-Men announcement, put something out in September. We know for a fact that the comic creators are working on things 6 to 9 months in the future, well beyond where we're at. We know that in these summits that there's talk of big events and other things planned. I think you can market this stuff without spoiling it. I think you can absolutely kind of do a healthy job of getting this stuff out there, generate some excitement, and more importantly, take advantage of this new marketing channel where people are walking around with their phones getting notified for things. I get a notification that comes up to a game feed I'm applied to, which is announcing something Square Enix is working on for 2028. I mean, that's 7 years from now, and I'm interrupted. It's coming in as a notification on my phone. I don't even have to go do anything. It's being pushed to me. Why doesn't comics harness that? Why not? Why is there not a Marvel app? Why is there not a Image app or DC app or something that basically, takes some of the content that they're putting out and reminds people, hey, we see that you buy Hulk. Well, don't forget, why don't I get a push notification? Wednesday, Hulk is coming out. I mean, I can set that up for my channel. I am setting that up for my channel. I'm just one schmuck here at a table doing this. Big publishers can't do that. I think they can. It's but again, the marketing is all very, very 1980s, 1990. It's very old school. It's kind of original publishing. And maybe the Penguin Random House deal helps change this a little bit, but it's maddening to have to dig. I mean, I put up on Fridays here are the books that are getting published next week. Who else is like, shouldn't that be right in your face? It's interesting. Go check out Drink and Draw. It's an interesting conversation. It was a tiny little bit during the interview, but it's I think Dan was onto something, and I think Joe Quesada's comments were pretty revealing, kind of about the whole thing. And it's just it's nuts that and it's definitely an area of improvement. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, Josh, for sending that my way. I really appreciate that, and thanks for listening.